Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 483 based on novel. So let's start. Master Hongshan's eyes became more and more clear. He took a deep breath and popping sounds echoed inside his body. A red mist came out of his pores and formed blood-colored cloth over his body. He looked at Wang Lin and clasped his hands. "Thank you, Lord of the Sealed Realm." He raised his head and turned to look at the Heaven Punishment Palace Lord. His eyes shined with wisdom. "Qing Jiuyan, even if you burn your cultivation, you won't escape. You will not die. This old man will refine you into a blood puppet and you will become a great help for my inner realm." After he spoke, Master Hongshan turned into a red shadow and charged ahead. The old man in black was pale. Although he was a third-step cultivator, he was still a cultivator. He was powerless to fight against four of them. As Master Hongshan closed in, the old man in black quickly retreated. However, Master Longpan calmly raised his right hand behind the old man in black and the mountain and river painting blocked the old man's path. Qing Shui's expression turned cold and he pointed at the old man. The 5 cracks on the old man's face began to tear open once more. Dark Moon Clear Sky was a spell that engraved itself on the enemy and could continuously erupt with terrifying power. Wang Lin's expression was calm, and the moment the other 3 attacked, his eyes shined. Golden light gathered in his fingertip and he pointed at the old man in black. "Stop!" This was a battle without any suspense. The 7-colored realm collapsed and the Heaven Punishment Palace Lord Qing Jiuyan was captured and taken away by Master Hongshan. Master Longpan's burning soul stopped burning with the help of Master Hongshan. He left with his disciple, Master Shongxian, to silently wait for the next battle against the Outer Realm. Master Hongshan invited Wang Lin to the Cloud Sea and used the name of the Lord of the Sealed Realm to ignite the fighting spirit of the Inner Realm cultivators. Then he led the Inner Realm cultivators to carry out the final counterattack. Wang Lin didn't go as he had obtained 3 Dao fruits. The most important thing right now was to complete his 3 Daos before the rejection force inside his body exploded. He had to break open the void gate and complete his Dao. Qing Shui left. His green robe fluttered among the stars with a sense of sadness and loneliness. He went to find his daughter. Perhaps he would find her, perhaps he would never find her in his entire life. However, no matter what, as long as Wang Lin asked, he would come back from the end of the world. There was no need to speak too much between them. The things they experienced together was something Qing Shui wouldn't forget. Among the stars, there were only 2 people Qing Shui still cared about. One of them was his junior brother, Wang Lin. Master Hongshan's escape brought joy to the Inner Realm. The retake of Summoned River gave the remaining Inner Realm cultivators hope. The death of esteemed teacher Tian Zhao, the addition of Master Longpan, and the capture of the Heaven Punishment Palace Lord reignited the confidence of the Inner Realm. There were no 7-colored realms left in the Inner Realm. After decades of war, the remaining cultivators were all seasoned warriors. They had to fight because once they failed, the only remaining path would be death. Master Hongshan spreading the news that the Lord of the Sealed Realm had returned was the most impactful. This caused the Inner Realm cultivators to raise their heads, and the flame of battle in their hearts became even more intense. In the brilliant Void Realm, there was a place near the border between the Cloud Sea and All Heaven. This place quickly developed into a large trading area. Many planets like this appeared at the boundaries of the 4 great star systems. Lots of cultivators from all 4 systems gathered on these planets to trade for the resources they needed. This caused the 4 star systems to slowly fuse together. At this moment, on this planet in the brilliant void called One Spirit, there were cultivators from all 4 star systems. As the cultivators came and went, it was extremely lively. The female cultivators of the Summoned River were the most famous. Although a large amount of them had died, many of them had gained prestige during that counterattack. Although the Summoned River had just been recovered, a large amount of female cultivators from Summoned River returned. The Summoned River showed signs of recovery. The Summoned River had the most female cultivators, and they were all beautiful. The fragrance they gave off made the single male cultivators in the other three systems do their best to find themselves Dao partners that would accompany them for the rest of their lives. With female cultivators from the summoned river present, the city became even more lively. There were some inns in this city that provided a place for cultivation for the cultivators that came. There was a large amount of spirit stones and some celestial jades in every room. Some inns with deep backgrounds had origin crystals to provide origin energy for those old monsters. In the eastern part of this city that covered most of the planet, there was a medium-sized inn. There were many cultivators sitting inside the hall in this inn. Although cultivators didn't have to eat, celestial fruits, wine, or some simple mortal foods would often evoke some memories of the past. The inn was often full. Due to the war with the outer realm, this became a good opportunity to meet all kinds of fellow cultivators. They would learn from each other, and perhaps simple acquaintances would have a chance to meet again on the battlefield in the future. At this moment, there were several cultivators sitting at the table in the northern end of the inn. One was a middle-aged scholar that was smiling and talking to his friends. I have already said before that I knew the Lord of the Sealed Realm, but none of you believe me. On the opposite of the scholar were two women who were both beautiful. However, their ages were somewhat different. The woman in a pink robe that was younger became curious. Where did Big Brother Jew meet the Lord of the Sealed Realm? The woman in purple beside her was a bit older, she was already middle-aged. There were traces of time on her face, and she was calmly sitting there and hadn't said a word. Beside the middle-aged scholar was an old man. He smiled and interjected, "Lady Shu, don't believe fellow cultivator Jew's words. Every time this guy meets female cultivators from the summoned river like you, he says the same thing. I have almost grown calluses in my ears from listening to him." It was on planet Suzaku. The Lord of Sealed Realm at that time could not match his cultivation today. I remember back then, he was still a little core formation cultivator. I didn't think he would become the Lord of the Sealed Realm one day. The middle-aged scholar smiled and ignored the old man's words. His face was filled with emotions. The woman blinked and revealed a hint of interest. She looked at the woman in purple and smiled. "Senior sister, I remember you saying you came from planet Suzaku. Have you met the Lord of the Sealed Realm before?" After she spoke, everyone, including the middle-aged scholar, became silent. They all looked toward the woman in purple with shock and envy. There was also a faint look of respect. Even the nearby cultivators became silent when they heard this. They stopped speaking and looked respectfully at the woman in purple. The middle-aged man that spoke before quickly stood up. He clasped his hands at the woman in purple and said, "I, Ju Dongda, greet fellow cultivator from planet Suzaku. What I said before was false, I hope fellow cultivator doesn't mind." Not only him, but even the old man and the large amount of surrounding cultivators all clasped their hands to greet her. The cultivators from the Cloud Sea walked up to her and clasped their hands. This kind of occurrence was not common in the 4-star systems, but it had happened several times. The fame of the Lord of the Sealed Realm was not a personal glory but was obtained through shocking events that happened in the war. In the minds of the Inner Realm cultivators, the Lord of the Sealed Realm was the soul of the Inner Realm. The Lord of the Sealed Realm was from the Brilliant Void, so the Brilliant Void cultivators were respected by the cultivators from the other 3 systems. Although it wasn't much, it was there. The Lord of the Sealed Realm came from planet Suzaku, it was something all the cultivators knew now. There was naturally respect toward the cultivators from planet Suzaku. However, planet Suzaku was a small place, and very few cultivators could leave it. As a result, it was rare to meet someone who was really from there. However, it was because of this that once one was found to be a cultivator from planet Suzaku, they would be respected greatly. Planet Suzaku had obtained the respect of the entire Inner Realm due to Wang Lin. The woman in purple seemed to be unaccustomed to this kind of attention, so her face turned slightly red. She raised her jade-like hand to move her hair aside and then greeted all the cultivators that greeted her. She softly replied her junior sister's words. I should have seen him." The woman began to recall, and her words caused everyone to begin to listen. "However, I'm a bit unsure if the person I met was him," the woman sighed. "Senior Sister Ju, quickly tell me. The woman in pink quickly rushed her senior sister. At that time, he was called Ma Liang. At that time, he was only at the foundation establishment stage, and he was very cold and ruthless. He returned to the country of Hu Fen from the foreign battleground. If he was really the Lord of the Sealed Realm, he and Li Muwen should have met there. Li Muwen was my best friend. The woman in purple was a bit unsure as she spoke. The surrounding cultivators all listened seriously. This kind of thing was very rare to hear from a Planet Suzaku cultivator. Only a young man in black sat in the distance, occupying a table to himself, drinking silently. His expression was indifferent and he gave off a cold aura, so no one dared to get close. "Teacher? Where are you?" The young man drank wine and looked out at the inn as he recalled the past. However, in an instant, his body trembled and looked at the man in white that had entered the inn. His eyes became filled with disbelief and excitement. At that time, Planet Suzaku was a semi-abandoned planet, and the most powerful cultivator in Hu Fen was only at the nascent soul stage. The woman's eyes were filled with reminiscence. She had left Planet Suzaku a long time ago, but she couldn't forget these memories. As she spoke, almost all the cultivators in the inn began to listen. Some even stepped closer with fascination in their eyes. Planet Suzaku is the hometown of the Lord of the Sealed Realm. He grew up there and slowly stepped toward his glory today. The middle-aged scholar let out a sigh. "I'm a cultivator from the country of Hu Feng, and the country Hu Feng faced a disaster which forced us to move to the neighboring country of Xianwu. The country of Xianwu was unwilling, so a war between the two countries began. The fighting from the past seemed to flash before the woman in purple. Ma Liang. Perhaps he was really the Lord of the Sealed Realm. At the time, he had already left his mark. Even though he was only a foundation establishment cultivator, hundreds of people with the same cultivation level fell to him." The woman in purple's soft voice echoed inside the inn. When she said this, it caused an uproar among the surrounding cultivators. At the foundation establishment stage and killing hundreds of people with same cultivation level. This is almost impossible. There is nothing that is impossible. How can the Lord of the Sealed Realm be someone we can imagine? The lower the cultivation level, the smaller the gap between cultivation levels. Although the gap is not that small, the spells and treasures a foundation establishment cultivator can use are very limited. I didn't expect the Lord of the Sealed Realm to already be so strong then. No wonder he could reverse the tides at the Cloud Sea. As they debated, the man in white that had entered rubbed his nose and went toward the cultivator in black. He smiled gently at the excited cultivator in black and his hand pressed down. He pressed the cultivator in black that was about to get up to kneel down back into the chair. "Teacher," the cultivator in black was 13. His eyes were filled with excitement and his mind was blank. Wang Lin had appeared so suddenly and 13 had no warning. The young man in white was Wang Lin. After dealing with the seven-colored realm in the summoned river, Wang Lin was going to Planet Suzaku to pay tribute to his parents. He was going to refine his karma, life and death, and true and false essences there. When he passed by, he sensed 13 and the aura from the ancient demon statue, so he came here. Looking at the grown-up 13, Wang Lin revealed a look of relief. He still remembered when he first met 13 in the demon spirit land. His determination and loyalty, even though more than 1,000 years had passed, 13 was still the same. This child is becoming more and more like me in my early years. Wang Lin let out a sigh. 13's cold aura was very similar to his when he was on planet Suzaku. 13 took a deep breath and was about to speak, but when he saw Wang Lin shake his head, he no longer spoke. However, the excitement and respect in his eyes was intense. For him, Wang Lin was his teacher and his benefactor. His entire life had changed because of Wang Lin. Even if he died, he wouldn't forget what Wang Lin had given him. He was 13, the royal and cold 13. Later, during that war, there was no more news of him. I remember that he was ready to leave the country of Hu Fen, and I met with him right before, the woman in purple said calmly, and the discussions around her calmed down. No one had noticed the young man in white that had walked in. All their attention was attracted by the woman in purple. Later, I faintly heard that he had saved Li Muwen and, under the pursuit of a core formation cultivator, entered an extremely dangerous place on planet Suzaku. It was called the Sea of Devils. The woman in purple's voice echoed as she recalled the past. Listening to the woman in purple, Wang Lin picked up a glass and drank a mouthful. His eyes were filled with reminiscence and he slowly smiled. He remembered Li Muwen being hunted by the core formation cultivator, her helpless gaze, and her call for help. 13 picked up the wine jug and poured for his teacher. Core formation cultivator? HMPH, is that core formation cultivator still alive? He actually dared to go after the Lord of the Sealed Realm. If he is still alive, his cultivation level can't be high. Even if the Lord of the Sealed Realm doesn't care, this old man will refine his soul. That's right, he provoked the Lord of the Sealed Realm, which means he provoked all the cultivators in the 4 great star systems. Lady Ju, what is the name of that evil cultivator that hunted the Lord of the Sealed Realm? The woman in purple shook her head and softly said, I've forgotten. I never saw the Lord of the Sealed Realm after that. However, hundreds of years later, I heard that a cultivator named Wang Lin shocked planet Suzaku. He was a cultivator from the country of Zhao, and when he was at the Foundation establishment stage, he offended a nascent soul cultivator named Teng, who killed his family. It was the first time many of the surrounding cultivators had heard this. They could imagine that the pain the Lord of the Sealed Realm suffered at that time was not something ordinary people could withstand. Then he went back to country of Zhao and did something that shocked planet Suzaku. Rivers of blood flowed in the country of Zhao. It was really rivers of blood. That nascent soul cultivator's entire family was killed, none remained alive. He wasn't a gentleman but completely vented the hatred from before. Everyone who had the bloodline of the Teng family was killed. Rumors said that the sky of the country of Zhao was blood red, the woman in purple's voice was calm, but the surrounding cultivators could all feel the monstrous killing intent and hatred. They could faintly hear the heaven-shaking roar Wang Lin let out after exacting revenge and completely eradicating the Teng family down to the roots. Wang Lin silently pondered and drank the wine cup by cup. 13 continued to pour. This was the first time he had heard Wang Lin's story, so he had also become silent. Good, this is what should be considered revenge. That little nascent soul Teng cultivator should be killed, but his entire family, some cultivators seemed to disagree. HMPH, you are not the Lord of the Sealed Realm, how could you experience the sorrow and despair of all your loved ones being killed? This old man doesn't think he went too far. As everyone murmured, the voice of the woman in purple continued to echo. Wang Lin drank all the wine at once, then he put down the cup and looked into the distance. He was really homesick, he missed his parents and he wanted to go see them. Let's go. Wang Lin stood up and walked out of the inn. 13 left a few spirit stones and followed Wang Lin. I only heard about the past of the Lord of the Sealed Realm. He originally had the chance to become Lord of planet Suzaku, but in the end he chose to leave. On planet Suzaku, there is a statue of him guarding the planet. As the woman in purple spoke, she seemed to notice something and subconsciously turned to look at the door of the inn. Her gaze passed over 13 and paused on Wang Lin's back. This person is a bit familiar. Wang Lin raised the curtain of the door to the inn and turned his head. He looked at the woman in purple that was looking at him and revealed a smile. He gently shook his head and walked out. 13 followed Wang Lin out of this inn. The woman in purple trembled and was frozen there. The smile of the man in white filled her mind. That image began to overlap with the figure from her past. He is, the woman in purple trembled and was filled with disbelief. Her mind was blank, but that smile became more and more clear and profound. It was as if it was going to rush out from her mind. It's him. Senior sister, what's wrong? The woman in pink saw the woman in purple being startled, so she gently pushed a few times. She followed her senior sister's gaze, but only the curtain at the door was gently swaying. Not only her, but all the surrounding cultivators looked over. However, they only saw the curtain swaying gently and nothing else. Nothing. The woman in purple was called Ju Zihong. She subconsciously moved the strands of her hair behind her ear and continued to speak about her memories. As she spoke, she revealed a melancholy smile and recalled Wang Lin's smile as he turned around. At the top of a high mountain, the wind blew by as if it was trying to topple the mountain. Wang Lin stood there with 13 kneeling on one knee before him. Teacher, 13 is willing to follow you. 13, you're my first disciple and the one that has followed me the longest. Wang Lin's voice was soft and his gaze toward 13 was very kind. 13 gently nodded and looked at Wang Lin with a hint of attachment in his eyes. To him, Wang Lin was a teacher that was like a father. However, if a bird wants to grow, it needs to face the wind and rain alone, face the might of the world and overcome the wind and rain to step above the clouds. You have done very well, Wang Lin patted 13's shoulder. But teacher, 13 was about to speak when Wang Lin shook his head and interrupted 13. Wang Lin faced 13 and slowly said, 13, my disciple can't be a cultivator who stays under my protection. My disciple must have the heart of a heaven-defying cultivator. My disciple must have the determination to fight against the heavens. My disciple must be dragon amongst men, to be above heaven itself. He must attract the admiration of everyone when he says he is my first disciple. Teacher. 13 was excited and nodded. Of course, if anyone dares to bully you, your teacher won't allow it. From today onward, you will create your own path as my first disciple. Wang Lin had spent the most time on 13 among his disciples and had the most attachment toward 13. As he spoke, his right hand patted 13's head. An invisible ripple spread in all directions with the two of them as the center. This ripple spread out across the world. Wang Lin turned his comprehension of thunder and fire into a seed and buried it deep within 13. I won't gift you any treasures, only this essence seed. 13's body trembled. When Wang Lin's palm landed on his forehead, a golden seed appeared in his mind. This golden seed contained Wang Lin's comprehension of his complete fire and thunder essences. It was the aura of the third step. This seed also contained Wang Lin's celestial bloodline, that's why it was gold in color. This seed was comparable to a heavenly treasure. It was precious enough to cause a catastrophe. Wang Lin was giving it to his first disciple, 13. Teacher is leaving. Wang Lin looked profoundly at 13 and took away the ancient demon statue. He then stepped into the sky and gradually disappeared. Just as he was about to completely disappear, he turned his head and looked down at 13 with a gentle gaze as if he was looking at his own child and gently nodded. If you want to do something, do it. As long as you can live with your decision, then no matter how big of a disaster you cause, teacher is here. You should find a woman you like, don't be like me. 13 bit his lip and tears appeared in his eyes. He silently watched his teacher leave and kowtowed 9 times. Wang Lin silently walked among the stars. He had come alone and left alone. After more than 2,000 years, he was used to this loneliness and used to looking at the bright stars by himself. He was used to breathing and savoring this unspeakable sense of loneliness by himself. He had long become used to this. He didn't immediately absorb the ancient demon statue into his left eye and instead kept it inside his storage space. He could still maintain the rejection force in his body. Only by absorbing it at the critical moment could the ancient demon statue display its full effect. Wang Lin didn't want to absorb it if he could avoid it. He wanted to wait for this ancient demon statue to grow a bit more. As for the ancient demon he had caught in all heaven, it was still sealed by him. It was not time to use it yet. He once promised the ancient demon a chance at survival. Wang Lin didn't forget. The starry sky was silent at night unless there were rumbles of cultivators fighting. Right now, Wang Lin was silently walking into the distance. He looked slow, but in truth every step he took covered vast distances. It was no different than spatial bending. Wang Lin didn't go to the rain celestial realm. It wasn't that he didn't want to, but he didn't have enough time. He passed by the hidden rain celestial realm entrance and looked back. He had to go pick up the madman first. On the other edge of the brilliant void, there was a planet. This planet wasn't planet Suzaku but a rank 7 cultivation planet. It was surrounded by several smaller planets, and it looked very quiet from a distance. Because this area was quite empty, not many cultivators came here. At this moment, in a mortal city on this planet, it was already autumn. The cold, autumn wind swept through this city as if it had taken something away and then left. This was a small town, it wasn't big. There weren't many people living here, so the street was mostly vacant. Only some shops were open, and the autumn wind was causing the shops to shake, making it look a bit depressing. There were several stalls in the corner of the street, and the servers were all lazily chatting with each other. They were wearing layers of clothing, but they could still feel the coldness of the autumn wind. The rustling sounds on the ground echoed as the withered leaves were blown along the street. Some of the leaves were sent to these stalls and were blocked by the tables. The leaves went around and glided off into the distance. Some autumn leaves flew into the sky and off into another street. Then they hit someone's face. That person was originally walking forward while swaggering with two men following him. They had flattering smiles and were whispering something to him, making this person laugh happily. This laughter was interrupted by the autumn leaves. He muttered something before slapping his face and removing a leaf. He threw it on the ground and then mercilessly jumped on it a few times. As he stomped the leaf, he roared at the same time. "Little leaf, you dare to have ideas about this king? HMPH, let's see how this king will deal with you." He stomped on the leaf more than 10 times before the wind blew it away, only then did he finally give up. He was the madman. The two people behind him were Shuligwa and Liu Jinbiao. They were used to the madman's actions, so they only looked at each other. Shuligwa blinked as he watched the leaf fly away and sent a message to Liu Jinbiao. "Old Liu, why do I think there is something about his words? He couldn't have seen through us." Liu Jinbiao rubbed his chin and sent a message back. "According to my analysis, this person is really crazy, so he will not see through us. Master Shu can rest assured." Shuligwa nodded. He believed in Liu Jinbiao's judgment. During this time, they had worked together to scam the madman and had gained a lot of benefits. Thinking of this, Shuligwa quickly revealed a flattering smile and walked up to massage the madman's shoulders. He viciously stared at the flying leaf and said, "That's right, trample it to death. Who let it dare to bully this king? King, do you want this little one to catch it so you can trample it some more?" The madman waved his hand and proudly smiled. "Forget it, this king will let that leaf go. Little Shu, where is that little girl you spoke of? Quickly, take this king there. If this king is satisfied, this king will reward you." When Shuligwa heard there was a reward, his eyes lit up. However, Liu Jinbiao let out a dry cough. His expression was calm, as if he was unmoved. "King, you didn't like any of the ones before. This time, I, Shuligwa, spent a lot of effort to find another that you will be satisfied with," but, without waiting for Shuligwa to finish, the madman bit his finger. Blood flowed out and he wiped it on Shuligwa. "That's enough." Shuligwa's expression filled with excitement. He carefully wiped away the blood and put it away before he quickly nodded. Even Liu Jinbiao's eyes lit up. He licked his lips and made himself look calm, but his gaze constantly looked toward Shuligwa. Under the madman's eagerness, the trio arrived at the edge of the street, where there was a shop. Liu Jinbiao walked into the shop first. When the madman and Shuligwa entered, he immediately closed the door. After forming a few seals to seal the door, he quickly followed. "Why is it so troublesome?" Before he got close, he heard a roar from the madman. There was a transfer array in the backyard of this shop. This array was very rough, and it was obvious that it was placed not long ago. The madman stood outside the transfer array and roared at Shuligwa. Shuligwa put on a flattering smile and rubbed his hands together. "King, this little one found you a cultivator at the corporeal young stage. This person originally refused, but this little one spent a lot of effort to make this person agree. However, due this person's noble status, that person is extra careful." The madman's face was filled with impatience and he pursed his mouth. "We came here for so many days and haven't succeeded once. If it's not successful this time, this king won't play anymore. This can't be as fun as you say. What kind of fun thing has this king not played with before?" Shuligwa smiled with a look of intoxication and quickly said, "Once king has a taste, you will know this little one is not lying. It's just that this little one doesn't have enough spirit stones to activate this formation. The madman muttered and hesitated for a bit before he squeezed out a drop of blood to give to Shuligwa. He then muttered to himself, this king's blood is very precious. Back then, that who? Shuligwa ignored the madman and excitedly caught the blood. After putting it away, he winked at Liu Jinbiao. Liu Jinbiao remained calm and activated the transfer array when the madman wasn't paying attention. There was a flash of light and the three of them disappeared. Array light flashed inside a valley and 3 people appeared. However, shortly after, the madman began to roar once more. Why is there another transfer array? This king is not going to play. Shuligwa had somehow managed to convince the madman, and a moment later there was another flash of light. The valley calmed down once more. Just like this, after the madman roared, there were flashes of light in more than 10 locations. The madman's roar became even more intense. How many transfer arrays are there? This king is really not going to play, not going to play. You're bullying me, you've all gone too far. I'm going to tell my teacher. It seemed that this last sentence had an effect. Shuligwa's body trembled and even Liu Jinbiao's eyelids twitched. He anxiously looked at Shuligwa. It seemed that last sentence had scared him to death. During this period of time, the two of them had gotten the information that the madman had taken Wang Lin as his teacher. Shuligwa was shocked for a moment. During these days, he had almost forgotten about the fiend. He quickly said, this is the last one, this is the last one. This one doesn't need spirit stones. Once we go, we can see that little girl. At this moment, a ripple echoed outside the planet and Wang Lin walked out. He looked at the planet and frowned. There was a flash of coldness in his eyes. Nonsense. This video will end here.